It's time for CIBL Biz Tips, bringing you actionable strategies to grow and improve your business. Prepare to become civilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? Welcome to CIBL Biz Tips, where we bring you concepts and strategies to help you grow your Central Illinois business. We are joined again in the studio here by Chris Harrison. Chris is with Main Place Real Estate in Decatur, Illinois. If you listen to Chris's episode, I guess if you haven't listened to Chris's episode, first off, you better go back and listen to his, I guess we call it the regular episode recordings. Chris did about 30 minutes with us about his background. And one of the things we learned, Chris, was that you have gotten into more of a management role, and you are one of the quote unquote problem solvers at Main Place Real Estate now.
Yep.
So one of the things we asked you after we jumped off of our last recording was, is there anything that you have a little bit of an expertise around, anything you'd like to share that you think you can help our audience with? And one of those items was problem solving. So with that, I'll let you take the floor and tell us, I guess, maybe a little bit about the background that you have with problem solving, and then just kick right into how you solve problems at Main Place.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be back. And, as we were talking, you kind of asked about what my role is. And, really, I'm a problem solver. And we have a lot of different agents, a lot of different situations, buyers, sellers, lenders. And, part of my job is helping people solve problems. What I think is always one of the first things that I always try to do is define the problem. What is the problem, and what's wrong, and don't play the blame game. Don't play, well, they were supposed to do this, or I don't know why they didn't do that. That doesn't matter. And I've gotten caught up in, like, sometimes I get all like detective like. I'm like, well, did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm looking for that gotcha moment. And it may make me feel good to know it wasn't my fault, but in the end, that doesn't help solve the problem. So I think, one of the most important things about defining the problem is to not play the blame game. Just let's find out what problem needs to be solved. In our business, is there a repair that needs to be done? Is there a credit that needs to change hands? Is there something wrong with the financing and the borrower needs more time? That's the important thing, is find out what is the problem and what do we need to solve the problem.
Awesome. Sure. Yeah. It sounds like basically taking ownership of the problem is one of the things that you really try to drive at.
Yep. Yeah. And who can solve the problem? Sometimes I'll get an agent who's, all worked up about the borrower, this and this and this and this. And I go, look, I understand that's not your problem to fix, and I say, don't play the blame game, but also don't try to fix something that isn't in your sandbox to fix.
Yeah,
you got to know what's within your sphere of what you can do to fix it.
Yeah. And I think the quicker that you can address the issue, the better things go. When you hesitate and try to maybe push it off a little bit to see if it fixes itself, that never seems to work very well either.
It doesn't. No, things don't fix themselves. I will say, though, I do tend to take a little bit of time once in a while. If I've got a buyer backing out on a property, they call me at 6 o'clock at night, I'm backing out. I can't do this anymore. I can't buy it. Will I wait till the morning and check with them again and go, are you sure? What if we did this or this? Sure. And again, I think it's that, that comes in. And the other things is, finding solutions, but people, especially in our business, these are big financial, emotional decisions.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a 3-minute phone call of somebody who knows what else happened in their day that led them to, I'm backing out of this deal.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know if I take that phone call, and then just play the telephone game and pass that on, all I'm doing is escalating it at, to taking that emotion and passing it on and bringing someone else in that's going to be emotional now and go, what do you mean you're backing out? I'm supposed to be buying another house too. And so it's just this escalation factor that I think sometimes we do have to just take time, take a little simmer time, sleep on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
If you're not going to fix the problem tonight at 7:00, not any better than you can fix it tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning.
Sure.
So
it's like the old meme that people used to put up all the time, the keep calm and carry on, or whatever it was called, keep calm and something like that. But, going back to, taking ownership of the problem. Have you guys ever read Jocko Willink's book?
Extreme ownership.
Yes. Extreme ownership.
Oh, yes.
So I've listened to it. I've not read it, but I listened to it on Audible. And that's the first thing that popped in my head when you started saying that. I was like, that's a Jocko Willink thing right there. And if you listeners haven't had a chance to read or listen to that book, I'd highly recommend it. It's a great opportunity to learn, especially as a leader, of how to take ownership of every situation, even if it may not have been your fault. Yep. There's something that you could have done differently that may have changed that situation. And as a leader, taking the pressure off of your team gives them the ability to feel like they've got a little more room to be creative and do their own thing. They don't feel like they are, under a microscope. And the story about, I think it was the opening chapter of the book, he talks about a failed mission. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a friendly fire. Someone died in friendly fire. And they go back to the meeting room, and, that's always a bad situation. He's like, all right, tell me what happened. Sits down with all of his guys, and every single guy's like, well, it's my fault. I should have done this. It's my fault. I should have done that. And he's like, nope, you're all wrong. It was my fault. I failed you. I did this wrong. I could have done better. This won't happen again. So that's one thing that it stuck out to me when he started talking about that, Chris, was like, that's spot on with that book. And it's a really great book. If people ever want to read something about leadership, that's a good one.
Oh yeah. And I will say, as they say, put a link in the comments to anything Jocko. He's, you certainly learn about leadership, but so much of his stories and examples, and he's got several different podcasts, they're all war based. Mm-hmm. And in war, there is no room for excuses or finger pointing. And I think what's also important there too is they don't dwell on it. It's like, did you screw up? You did? Okay. You're taking ownership for it? Okay. Let's move on. Yeah. And it's back to the the movie Office Space, and the TPS reports, where I make one mistake and I've got 7 different bosses. Yeah. And so I think we really try to learn from mistakes, adapt to it. And I get people, they're like, I didn't do this, why am I getting in trouble? You're not in trouble. I don't care. I just don't want that situation to happen again. Yep. So how do we prevent that from happening again? And so, bringing all that, the old Office Space movie together with Jocko, it's about ownership. And again, really, how do you prevent that problem from happening again? And guess what? Something different's going to come up next time that's going to be a problem, but hopefully it's not that thing again.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, I think this is a perfect lead-in point to stop for our first session, and pick up where we left off in session number 2. So we talked about taking ownership and trying to prevent that from happening again in the future. Session 2, I think we'll have some more things to talk about, a little more detailed. I know we're going to talk about getting the desired outcome potentially. So, Chris, work's not done, but it's done for now. We'll see everybody in session 2. And between now and next time you listen in, please join in, leave us a review, find us on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you can connect with us personally there as well. Until next time, y'all have been civilized. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.